Hi, how you doing this week? I'm doing good. And if you can always comment or at the bottom as long as you subscribe. In other words, when you subscribe, then you get the ability to comment. And if you comment, and just ask me a question, and I can reply and give you the answer. Anyway, simple as that. So I've been assuming all this time, but I only get a couple of compliments, and it's on, oh, they're glad of this and glad of that. But I know there's more problems out there than I think. Anyway, I want to cover the progression in the key of C again with you, and give you a couple additional hints before we go into the D flat again. Okay, so again, the first, the third, and the fifth, we find those by going 4 half steps, 1 and a half. And then we have a 6th, we have a 7th, we have again up here again, and all the other different combinations. And the simplicity of just the chords in the key of C are 1 is C, 2 is D minor, 3 is E minor, F, G, A minor, B flat diminished, and now we're back to C, which would be 8. Okay. Now, as we discussed last week, we have 1, 2, then on the 3 is a diminished, and the 4 is a diminished. I'm sorry. 1, 2 is a minor, D minor. I goofed you up there. Okay. We have the C chord again. Oh my. I hope you can excuse me. I've been doing this stuff without any thought whatsoever for close to 60-some years. I've been playing a total of 66. So I've been doing stuff without a thought. I just sit down. There's no thought process involved in what I'm showing you. So now that I'm showing you, I get lost, like going down the same street, but somebody planted a tree, so I don't know where I am. Okay, here we go. 1, okay, the 2nd and the 3rd are minor keys. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th is a minor key, and the 7th is a diminished key. And on this chart that I showed you last week, the lines without any color are the minors, and the last one is a diminished key. And these other ones in blue are the actual key for that progression, chord progression. In other words, D flat. This is a progression for that. Okay, now we have all these numbers up here, and we've been working on CFG, which are the blue. Okay, now we can come up with our own variations to those chords. We can look online and come up with variations that other people have, but it's more fun if we play with it. So, in other words, a couple of little tricks I've learned in the going with things is to hit the C and then take the 3rd, which is a here, I'll show you. It's easier to show you than any other way. Okay. Here's a chord, C. Now, the 3rd of that is an E. So, without thinking about anything, now we're going to take and make this the next chord. So, now it's going to be an E minor. And now we're going to take the 3rd of this chord. Now it's a G. Okay, and now we're going back to a D, aren't we? See? I'm sorry, a B now. So we could play that this way. Now we're going to go back to an F. Okay, and so the 3rd on that is a D. Okay, and the 3rd is an F. and then the third again here is an A. In other words, we can play that way. And when we came back to the F a minute ago, we could have just gone back to C, see? So in other words, you can make your own, up your own chord thing by just going by the thirds, just jumping from, rather than going from 1 to 4, like 1 to 4 to 5, just go 1 and use this as a beginning to put your bass on. So we go bass, it's an E chord. This would be a G chord. This would be a B. And of course we're in the key of C, so we don't play the B because it's a diminished. So we play it here. Now it's a D, okay? Now we're going to go to a D minor. Now it's an F. See, that's that F I told you about a minute ago. And so now we go to F. And now we forget about going to the third, we just go back to C. Okay, so now it goes. See how that wound together? Okay, let's do it again so you see it. I'm going to hold my fingers down. Take the third, and we just go to that part of that our key. So we're going to the third. Now we're going to the third again. Now we're going to the third again. Now we're going to the third again. Now we're going to the third again, which is F. Now we're going to the third again, which is A, but we've already gone through that, so we can go back to C. Or if you wanted, on F, we go to A again. Okay, now it's C, see? Either way, you could stop it here and go down, or you could stop it here. So again, third, 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 which is C. Okay. And that's using the thirds all the way through. Now, I'm going to throw another one in. Why don't we use the Fs also? I mean the fifths. Let's try the fifth, see how that sounds. Okay, here's the fifth. Now we go this way. Starting with a fifth there. Okay, we got a D here. Got an A here. Got a C here. Got a G here. Got a D here. Got an A here. Got a C here. See how it keeps coming back? So we're going C, G, D, A, oh, E. Did it wrong on you, huh? Now we're going to B. Now we're going to F. Now we're going to C. Okay. I didn't think that sounded right, so let's do it again. We have a G. We have a D. We have an A. We have an E. We have a B. We have an F. We have a C. Okay? So you can write a song that way. I changed it a little bit, but you got the message, I'm sure. Okay, now let's go to D. No, first we're going to stay on this for a second. You've been working with CFG progression, and you've been writing a song based on CFG progression. I hope that you've taken a listen to Slapping It Around, which I wrote in regards to CFG. And the next thing we did was I started writing a song, you started writing a song, and hopefully you finished up a song in that situation from the chords that I gave you to work with. And from that, you should have learned quite a bit of stuff. So now I want you to, while you're goofing around with C, do what I just showed you here. Start looking at different parameters. See, I'm using the fifths here. I'm going to use the thirds. Okay. Now, I didn't write that down because that's too confusing. I'd have been writing several pages and it'd come out to be a chapter. So you can just slow it down and watch exactly what I'm doing, and you can write it down in a way that you can comprehend it, and we'll be in good shape. Okay. So let's go now to the D flat. The D flat is, that's our fourth. So here's our D flat. Now, again, going through what we did last week. Our D flat, and we go up a full space, just like we did here. Except up here, it causes our mind to get a little goofy if we're not really, really used to the keyboard. So here we go. Okay, and here we go up 2, 4 I mean, and then we go up 1.5. So here we've got the same combination, and that's your D flat. Now I'm going to jump up here, because here's D flat. Now we need to go one full space, because from here to here was one full space in the C chord, so it's the same for the D flat chord. So we're going to go from here, half, 1. Okay, so we're going to jump over there, right? And that's going to be a minor because it's on the second step of D flat chord as we're moving up the scale. Now the next thing we do is go another full step. Now it's going to be F minor. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we can follow it up here on this up here. But we need to learn it as the same way we learned the C chord. This is the third step of this chord, D flat. Okay, now it's a half step, so we go up 1/2 step. Now it's F sharp, now we got a full step again. Because remember, on the second and third are negative keys. So we go to the G sharp, F sharp, then we go to the G sharp, which is actually A flat. Now I'm going to do it again because I got you mixed up. I'm going to stay in the flats like I should have in the first place. Okay, we have a D flat. We have an E flat, but that's a minor. So we have a D flat, and there's an E flat, minor. Now we have an F, but that's also a minor. That's a third. Now the fourth. See, there's your half step. Now we go to an A flat. Then we go to a B flat minor. Okay. And then our last one, which is the seventh, is going to be a diminished. So here again. D flat, E flat minor, F minor, G flat, A flat, B flat minor, and C diminished. Okay, now for a progression, what if we did the same thing? Okay, so here's a D flat. Here, this is here. But remember, we got 5 sharps. Okay, so this would be, the third is an F. Well, that is an F minor. The third here now is a flat. The third here now is a C. But the C in this configuration is a diminished. And then on the diminished, the third is an E flat. Okay, and the third here again is an F sharp. The third here is again a B flat minor. The third here again is D flat, which brings us back to where we started. Okay? People talk about the fifth, the circle of fifths, and how you need to learn the circle of fifths. You don't need to learn the circle of fifths because I just played it. You see how I did that? I mean, this would be not the fifth, but the circle of thirds, okay? Because I just played it. Here is the complete key. I'm going to run out of time and then I've got to start over again. So on this lesson, you're going to have to go up to the little icon up there and go boop to get the second part of it. Anyway, so here we have D flat. This is the second. This is the third. This is the fourth. This is the fifth. This is the sixth. This is the seventh. Okay, and when we're doing the third part of it, here's an F, and in the key of D flat, that F is an F flat. The third here is an A flat. We already know that's an A flat in the key of D flat. Okay, the next one, taking the third up, is a C. And in the key of C, in the C configuration, in D flat, it is a C diminished. And then the next step is a half step, see? And now we're back to D flat again. So we're going into thirds now. Okay, I just kept on going right up the scale. Now, in the fifths. Okay, here's your fifth. So we have a D flat, and the fifth is an A flat. So we go to A flat. Fifth here is an E flat, and an E flat is a minor, E flat minor. And here it's an F sharp. Here it's a B flat. Okay, so it's a B flat minor in this key of D flat. And so here we have D flat again. So we're back where we started by using the fifths. Okay. But we could keep right on going, right up the scale. In other words, you could go this way, just you'd end up where I did a few minutes ago up here. Okay. And you probably see where we're going with this. I could probably end right now. But I want to cover a little more on the D flat. Because if we were to take the D flat and play it the way we played the C chord was, the progression we had was C, F, and G. Okay. I'm going to stop there, and the rest of it is going to be on the second part of this, and so I'll catch up with you a minute there.